I'm pulling the Bearcat into another intersection, and the bodies are everywhere. Not moving ones, just corpses. Been 3 weeks since dispatch went dead, and I'm still driving this thing around like I've got somewhere to be. Name's Trevor. Detective Trevor Paulson. 42 years old, 20 years on the force. Divorced. No kids, thank Christ. And I've been living in this armored personnel carrier since the night everything went to absolute shit. The engine hums underneath me. Diesel. I've got maybe a quarter tank left. The gauge flickers because of course it does. Nothing works right anymore. The windshield has this crack spreading from the lower left corner where something hit it hard enough to spiderweb the bulletproof glass, but not break through. I don't remember what caused it. Maybe day 4. Maybe day 5. Time's doing this thing where it stretches out and compresses, and I can't always tell Tuesday from Sunday. I keep the radio on. Always on. Channel 9. Emergency frequency. Static. Just static for so long now that it's become this white noise I don't even hear until I do, and then it's like nails on a chalkboard inside my skull. The Bearcat's interior smells like sweat and old coffee, and something else I don't want to identify. Gun oil, maybe, or blood. There's dried blood on my uniform shirt. Not mine. Pretty sure it's not mine. I stopped checking myself for bites after the first week because what's the point? If I was infected, I'd know by now. I found the emergency rations in the back compartment on day 2. MREs. Military meals ready to eat. 12 of them in a green canvas bag shoved under the bench seating. Us had also found 2 cases of bottled water. Protein bars, a first aid kit I haven't touched. Flares. Ammunition for weapons I don't have in here. The Bearcat belonged to our SWAT team. I just happened to be near the station garage when everything went wrong. Let me back up. September 19th. That's when it started. I was finishing up a shift. Paperwork for a domestic disturbance call. Nothing unusual. Shannon was working dispatch. Sweet girl. Always brought cookies on Fridays. She started getting calls around 8 p.m. Lots of them. People reporting attacks, bites, violence. We thought it was bath salts or something. Some new drug making people crazy. Captain Morris sent units out. I went with Jenkins and Rodriguez. We took a patrol car to an address on Elmwood. Apartment complex. 3rd floor. Door was open. Like we went in with weapons drawn because the caller said her neighbor was eating someone. Eating. We thought she was hysterical, misunderstanding what she saw. She wasn't. The thing that used to be a man was crouched over a woman's body in the kitchen. Linoleum floor, blood everywhere, so much blood, and the sounds. I can still hear the sounds. Wet tearing, chewing. Jenkins yelled at it to stop, to get down. Standard commands. It turned and looked at us. Eyes were wrong, clouded over, milk white. Face covered in red. It screamed, not like a person, like something else. And it charged. Rodriguez fired. 3 shots center mass. It didn't stop, didn't even slow. Jenkins got grabbed, pulled down. I shot it in the head. Twice. That stopped it. But Jenkins was bitten. Bad. Arm nearly torn open. Rodriguez was calling for an ambulance, and Jenkins was screaming, and I was just standing there trying to process what I'd seen. We got Jenkins to the car. Started driving to the hospital. Radio was going insane. Every unit reporting similar incidents, attacks, bites, things that wouldn't stay down. Shannon's voice getting more frantic with each call. More units requesting backup. More officers down. We never made it to the hospital. Traffic was gridlocked. People running everywhere. Cars abandoned. More of those things in the streets, dozens of them. Chasing people, pulling them down. Jenkins died in the back seat. Just stopped breathing. We were stuck in traffic and Rodriguez was trying to do CPR, and I was watching the chaos outside, and Jenkins just stopped. Then he started again, but different. He grabbed Rodriguez from behind, bit into his neck. Rodriguez didn't even have time to scream. I put my gun against Jenkins's head, and I pulled the trigger, and I killed my partner. Second time. And Rodriguez was gurgling and bleeding out and turning his head toward me with that same wrong look in his eyes, and I got out of the car. I ran. Isn't that something? 20 years on the force, training, protocols. And I ran like a coward while my partner turned into one of those things. I made it back to the station on foot. Took 2 hours, maybe 3. Dodging crowds, hiding. The city was tearing itself apart. Fire in the distance, gunshots everywhere. Screaming, always screaming. Station was chaos. Officers barricading doors, Captain Morris trying to coordinate something resembling a response, but the whole system was collapsing. No help coming, no National Guard, no CDC. Just us, and we weren't enough. Shannon wasn't at her desk anymore. I didn't ask where she went. I went down to the garage. Most vehicles were out. Patrol cars, unmarked units. But the Bearcat was there. Keys in the ignition because SWAT had been suiting up when everything went wrong and they'd left in a hurry. Probably dead now. Probably all dead. I got in, started the engine, and I drove out of that garage while the station was being overrun behind me. That was 3 weeks ago. I've been driving ever since, sleeping in the back, eating those MREs slow, rationing the water. The Bearcat's got gun ports on the sides, small openings covered with metal shutters. I can open them and fire out if I need to. There's a roof hatch. I've used it. Climbed up there with my service weapon and put down the ones that get too close when I'm parked. The streets are different now. Empty mostly. Bodies rotting in the sun. Cars everywhere. Some crashed, some just stopped where they are like the drivers gave up. I navigate around them. The Bearcat can push through if I need it to, but I try to conserve fuel. Gas stations are tricky. I've hit 4 so far. Pull up to the pumps, check the area. Sometimes there's none of them around. Sometimes there's dozens. I've learned to tell the difference between a safe stop and a death trap. First gas station was day 6. I was running on fumes. Found a Shell station off Highway 12. No power, obviously. Had to hand pump the gas using the emergency release. Took forever. My hands were shaking the whole time. Kept watching the tree line. Kept expecting them to come rushing out. None did. I went inside after. The door was unlocked. The store was trashed, but there were still supplies. Grabbed everything I could carry. Chips, candy bars, beef jerky, more water, some guy's lunch from the break room fridge. Sandwich was still good. I ate it in the parking lot while sitting on the Bearcat's hood. That's when I saw the first weird thing. There was a dog, German Shepherd, just sitting in the middle of the road about 50 yards away, staring at me, not moving, not barking, just watching. I called to it, whistled. It didn't respond, didn't move. We stared at each other for maybe 5 minutes. Then it turned and walked away. Slow, deliberate, into the woods. I haven't seen any animals since. No birds, no dogs, no squirrels, nothing. Like they all left, or died, or something else. The MREs are terrible. They're not great, even in the best circumstances. But eating them cold in the back of an armored truck while the world's ending really brings out their special quality. I've got 8 left, maybe 9. I stopped counting after a while. Figured I'd just eat until they're gone and then figure out the next problem. Water's more important anyway. I've got maybe 20 bottles left. I drink slow. Small sips. I found a case at the second gas station. Place called Pete's Fuel Stop. Small town. Couldn't even remember the name. The station was burned. Not completely. Just the front part. Someone had tried to make a stand, maybe. Or maybe it was an accident. I found the water in a storage room that hadn't burned. Also found a dead guy. Not one of the infected. Just a regular dead guy. Shotgun wound to the chest. Weapon was still in his hands. I took the shells. Left him there. Seemed wrong to move him. Seemed wrong to do a lot of things, but I did them anyway. The radio crackles sometimes. I keep telling myself it's just atmospheric interference. Solar flares or whatever. But sometimes the static patterns feel deliberate, like someone's trying to transmit but can't get through. I've tried responding, picked up the handset and called out on every frequency I know. Emergency, police, highway patrol, ham radio bands I barely understand. Nothing comes back. I'm driving through downtown now, the financial district. Glass everywhere. Windows broken out of the high-rises, papers blowing in the wind, someone's jacket hanging from a streetlight. I go slow. The Bearcat's engine echoes off the buildings. Loud. Too loud. But I can't do anything about that. There's a parking garage on my left. The entrance is dark. I don't look. I learned not to look into dark places. That's where they hide during the day. The infected. They don't like light. Not direct sunlight, anyway. They're more active at night. I've seen them moving in groups after dark. Dozens of them. Following sounds, following movement. I try to stay moving during the day. Find somewhere defensible at night. Park the Bearcat in an intersection. Lock everything down. Lights off. Engine off. And wait for morning. The silence is worse than the static. When the engine's off and I'm sitting in the dark and there's nothing but my breathing and the occasional groan of metal settling and I can hear them outside. Walking, dragging feet. Sometimes they bump into the Bearcat. Sometimes they scratch at it. Testing. Their fingernails make this sound against the armor plating. Scritch, scritch, scritch. I don't sleep much. Day 7. I tried to find survivors. Drove through residential areas, honking the horn, yelling through the PA system. This is Detective Paulson with Metro PD. If you can hear this, get to a high point and signal. Flash a light. Hang something visible. I will come for you. Nobody signaled. I found a school. Elementary. The parking lot was full of small bodies. Kids. Teachers. I didn't stop. Couldn't. Just kept driving and tried not to think about it. There was a hospital on 12th. St. Michael's. I thought maybe there'd be people there. Medical staff. Patients who survived. The place was a fortress. Or it had been. Front entrance was barricaded with furniture, cars, a bus. But something had gotten through. The doors were torn open. Blood trails leading inside. I didn't go in. I sat in the parking lot for an hour. Watching, waiting. Nobody came out. Nothing moved except curtains and broken windows. I left. The thing about hope is it dies slow. You think you'd know when it's gone. When you've crossed that line into just surviving without purpose. But it's gradual. Each empty building, each silent street, each day without another voice. It chips away, and you don't notice until you realize you stopped calling out. Stopped honking, stopped looking for people to save. I'm just driving now. Burning gas, eating rations, existing. Day 9, I found the convoy. Military trucks on the interstate. 5 of them. Humvees, transport vehicles. All empty. Doors open. Supplies scattered. Ammunition casings everywhere. They'd made a stand. Hadn't been enough. I took what I could use. More MREs, medical supplies, a rifle. Not that I needed it. My sidearm worked fine. but having it felt better, more prepared. I loaded it, checked the action, put it in the passenger seat. There were bodies around the convoy. Soldiers, civilian, all infected and put down. Headshots, professional. Someone knew what they were doing. But they were gone now, either dead or moved on. I tried the military radio in one of the Humvees, got the same static. Maybe a little different, maybe wishful thinking. I sat there listening for 20 minutes, closed my eyes, tried to pick out patterns, voices, anything, just static. I took a combat knife from one of the bodies, put it on my belt, added a few road flares to my supplies, then I left the convoy and kept driving. Even the city has about 200,000 people. Had. Past tense. I don't know how many are left, how many turned, how many escaped. I've driven most of the major roads, checked the evacuation routes. Highway signs still display emergency information. Proceed north. Shelter available. Maintain calm. I went north on day 10. Followed the signs. The highway was packed with abandoned vehicles. I had to drive on the shoulder, sometimes on the median. The Bearcat handled it. Pushed through when needed. I found the shelter location, elementary school. Different one. This one had been turned into a FEMA site. Tents, medical stations, supply depot, all overrun. The fences were torn down, the tents shredded. Bodies everywhere. Thousands of them, maybe more. I turned around and came back to the city. Better to stay where I know the streets, on where I can navigate, where I grew up. I know every corner, every alley. It's home even if home is dead now. The Bearcat's odometer reads 83,000 miles. I've added maybe 300 in the last 3 weeks. Just circling. Patrolling routes that don't need patrolling. Old habits. Day 11. I opened the roof hatch. There was a group of them clustered around a storefront. 20 or so, just standing there. Swaying. I don't know what they were doing. Maybe nothing. Maybe they were drawn to something inside. A sound. A smell. I climbed up. Positioned myself. Started shooting. Headshots. Center mass doesn't work. I learned that the first night. You have to destroy the brain. Sever the connection. Whatever keeps them moving. I dropped 12 before they noticed me. Then they came. Fast. Faster than they should be able to move. I kept firing. Controlled shots. Breath steady. 20 years of range qualification. I put them all down. Brass casings clinking on the Bearcat's roof. Smoke curling from the barrel. My ears ringing. Then I climbed back inside and drove away. I've got maybe 6 magazines left for my service weapon. 48 rounds. The rifle has 4 magazines, 30 rounds each, 120 total. I've been conservative, only shooting when necessary. But necessary is becoming more frequent. They're everywhere. Day 12 was quiet. I drove through the warehouse district. Nobody, nothing. Just empty buildings and loading docks. I parked for lunch. Ate an MRE labeled chicken fajita. Tasted like cardboard and sadness. Drank half a bottle of water, checked my supplies. That's when I heard the voice. Not on the radio. Outside, a woman's voice, calling for help. I grabbed my weapon, opened a gun port, looked out. She was in the street. Blonde, maybe 30, covered in blood, running. Behind her were 5 of them, chasing, gaining. I yelled at her, told her to get to the Bearcat. She saw me, changed direction, ran toward the vehicle. I opened the back door, just a crack, ready to slam it if needed. She reached the Bearcat, grabbed the door, pulled it open. I saw her eyes. Wrong. Milky white. I slammed the door, hard, caught her arm. She screamed. Not human. That same wrong sound. I shoved her back, locked the door. She pounded on the armor, shrieking. The others caught up. They lost interest in me. Went after her instead. Pulled her down. Started feeding. I drove away while she was still screaming. They're learning. Or adapting. Or something. That's what scared me most. She was bait. Intentional or not. They're using tactics now. Or maybe I'm seeing patterns that aren't there. Maybe she was just running and happened to look human enough to fool me for 3 seconds. But I don't think so. Day 13, I parked on a bridge. Looked down at the river. The water was brown, clogged with debris, bodies floating, cars half submerged. I thought about driving off, just steering the Bearcat over the edge, ending it clean. But I didn't. I started the engine and kept going. That night, I found a parking garage. 7 levels. Drove to the top. Good visibility. Only one access ramp. Defensible. I parked in the center. Shut everything down. Sat in the dark. They came around midnight. I could hear them on the lower levels. Moaning, shuffling, and they knew I was there somehow. Could smell me, maybe. Or hear my heartbeat, or sense heat. They didn't make it to the top level. Too difficult. The ramp was steep. They're not coordinated enough for that. I listened to them trying. Falling, getting up, trying again. Eventually they gave up, or got distracted. The sounds faded. I dozed off around 3 a.m., woke up at dawn. Everything hurt. My back, my neck. Sleeping sitting up in body armor isn't sustainable long term. But what is? Day 14, I found another gas station. This one was different. The pumps were barricaded, sandbags, wooden pallets. Someone had fortified it. Recently, I approached slow, weapon ready, called out through the PA. No response. I got out. First time in days, the air smelled wrong. Smoke and rot and something chemical. I walked to the station entrance, and the door was reinforced with sheet metal. A sign hung on it, "Stay away, infected inside." The writing was shaky, spray paint, red, recent. I looked through the window. Couldn't see much. Too dark inside. But there was movement, shadows shifting. I went back to the Bearcat. Used the hand pump for the gas. The whole time I watched that door, waiting for it to open, waiting for whatever was inside to come out. It didn't. I left. Didn't loot the store. Didn't investigate. Some things you let alone. The MREs are down to 6 now, maybe 5. I'm losing track. The hunger's become background noise, like the static, always there. Easy to ignore until it spikes. I've lost weight. My uniform hangs loose. Belt notched tighter. Face gaunt in the rearview mirror. I don't recognize myself. 3 weeks of stubble. Eyes sunken. I'm skin pale from being inside the Bearcat. I need vitamins, fresh food, something beyond processed rations. But there's nowhere to get it. Grocery stores are picked clean or overrun. Houses are death traps. I'm stuck with what I have. Day 15. I drove past my old apartment. Couldn't help it. 2-bedroom unit in a complex on the east side. The building looked intact. Windows unbroken. I parked across the street. Sat there staring. I could see my balcony, 2nd floor, the chair I used to sit in, coffee in the morning, beer after shift, the grill I never learned to use properly. I wondered if my stuff was still there. The TV, my books, the photos I'd been meaning to put in albums. Didn't matter. I drove away. Day 16, the radio changed. Not the content, still static. But the quality shifted. Less white noise, more structured. Like pulses, long, short, Morse code maybe. I don't know Morse code. Tried to find a reference guide in the Bearcat. Nothing, just tactical manuals and equipment specs. I listened for hours, trying to decipher it. Gave up around sunset. Probably just interference. Radio waves bouncing off the ionosphere. Natural phenomena. Probably. That night I parked in a church parking lot. Big brick building, cross on top. The doors were chained shut from the outside. Someone's idea of mercy, maybe. Lock the infected inside, let them starve. I could hear them, even through the walls, moaning, scraping. They knew I was there. They always know. I tried to pray. Couldn't remember how. Couldn't remember what I'd say, even if I could. Thanks for the apocalypse. Please make it stop. Send help. I sat in silence instead, watching the church, waiting for dawn. Day 17. I drove through the suburbs. Nice houses, big lawns, soccer mom territory. Every driveway had a car. Every yard had toys, bikes, trampolines, swing sets, no people. I saw a birthday banner hanging on one house. Happy 8th birthday, Emma. The letters were faded, wind damaged. I wondered if Emma had her party, if she blew out candles, if she made a wish. I kept driving, found a community pool. The water was green, algae bloom, bodies floating in it, adults, kids, pool toys drifting between them, a beach ball, inflatable dinosaur, someone's sandal. I didn't stop. The suburbs were worse than downtown, too personal, too many reminders of normal life. The city felt anonymous, generic. But out here, every house told a story, every driveway had names, every mailbox had families. I went back to the city, in day 18. I shot a kid, maybe 14. He came out of nowhere, ran up to the Bearcat while I was stopped at an intersection, pounded on the door, and screaming, "Let me in, please, they're coming." I looked at his eyes. Clear, normal, human. I started to open the door, gun ready, cautious, on me. He smiled, teeth wrong, stained. He lunged. I fired, point blank. He dropped. I checked the body. His eyes were normal, but his mouth, the teeth were filed, sharp, and there were cuts on his arms. Deliberate, self-inflicted. He was infected, but aware. Conscious. Playing human, I got back in the Bearcat, locked everything, checked every seal, every port, made sure nothing could get in. They're evolving. Day 19, I'd found a police roadblock. 4 cars, arranged in a V formation, meant to funnel traffic, control crowds. Standard riot procedure. No officers, no bodies. Just the cars and a pile of equipment, radios, vests, helmets, ammunition. I took the ammo, left the rest. Didn't need more gear, just bullets. There was a notebook on one of the car hoods. Duty log. Last entry was dated September 21st, 2 days after everything started. Situation deteriorating. No contact with command. Officer Jensen bitten. Quarantined in car 3. Reynolds wants to shoot him. I said no. We wait for medical. Medical isn't coming. We all know it. But I can't give that order. I won't. God help us. The entry ended there. No signature. No follow-up. I looked in car 3. Empty. Door open. Handcuffs hanging from the steering wheel. Blood on the seats. Jensen got loose. I took the notebook. Put it in the Bearcat. Not sure why. Evidence, maybe. Documentation. Proof that we tried. That some of us stayed professional even when everything was falling apart. Day 20, I ran out of water. Completely. The last bottle went down fast. Too fast. I hadn't been rationing properly. I needed to find more. Had to leave the Bearcat. Risk it. There was a convenience store 2 blocks from my position. I'd avoided it before. Too exposed, too many windows. But I was out of options. I grabbed the rifle, extra magazines, combat knife, put on my vest, checked every piece of gear twice. Then I opened the door and stepped outside for the first time in 6 days. The air hit me, hot, humid, smelled like death, like rot, like burning plastic. I almost vomited, had to swallow hard, breathe through my mouth. The street was empty, cars everywhere, but no movement. I walked slow, weapon up, scanning corners, doorways, and anywhere they could hide. The store was 50 yards. Felt like a mile. Every step exposed, vulnerable. I could hear my boots on the asphalt. Loud. Too loud. I reached the store. Door was broken. Glass everywhere. I went inside. The shelves were mostly bare. Looted early. But I found what I needed. Water. 6 bottles in a cooler that had stopped working weeks ago. The water was warm but sealed. Good enough. I grabbed them. Turned to leave. Saw movement in the back. 3 of them. Behind the counter. Hunched over something. Feeding. They hadn't noticed me. Too focused on their meal, I backed up slow. Careful. 1 step. 2. 3. My boot hit glass. Loud crack. They looked up. All at once. Eyes finding me, mouths opening. I ran, out the door, down the street. They followed, fast, screaming that wrong sound. And I made it to the Bearcat. Pulled the door open, threw the water inside, climbed in, slammed the door just as the first one reached it. Impact. The whole vehicle shook. They pounded on the armor, clawing, biting, trying to get through. I started the engine, put it in gear, drove. They chased for a block, 2 blocks, eventually fell behind. I parked in an alley, sat there shaking, checked myself. No bites, no scratches, just adrenaline and fear. I drank an entire bottle of water. Didn't care about rationing, just drank until it was gone. 6 bottles. Maybe a week if I'm careful. Then I'd have to do that again. Day 21, I found a broadcast. Not on the emergency frequency. On AM radio, regular broadcast band. A voice, actual voice. Not static. This is automated message 17. And if you're hearing this, you're in the Kansas City metropolitan area. Evacuation sites have been compromised. Military rescue operations have ceased. Do not attempt to reach designated safe zones. They are no longer secure. Survivors should shelter in place. Maintain quarantine protocols. Help is not coming. Repeat. Help is not coming. This message will repeat. Then it looped. Same message, same tone, same dead delivery. I listened to it 12 times. Memorized every word, every pause. Looking for hidden meaning, subtext, code. There wasn't any. Just the truth. We were alone. I turned off the radio. Sat in silence. Processed it. Help wasn't coming. No rescue, no military, no CDC, no government. Just me and the Bearcat and however long the supplies lasted. I started laughing. Couldn't help it. The absurdity. 20 years preparing for emergencies. Training for disasters. Active shooter protocols. Terrorist attacks. Natural disasters. And none of it mattered. None of it prepared me for this. The laughter turned to something else. Not crying, just sound. Raw. Ugly. I let it out until my throat hurt. Then I stopped. Wiped my face, started the engine, kept driving. Day 22, I saw the second weird thing. I was passing a park, city park, playground, basketball courts. There was a figure standing in the middle of the basketball court. Just standing, not moving. I stopped. Watched through the windshield. It was one of them. Infected. Male. Middle-aged. Wearing a business suit. Tie perfect. Hair combed. Like he was going to a meeting. He stood there, arms at his sides, staring at nothing, not swaying, not moving, just standing. I honked the horn. Loud, long blast. He didn't react, didn't turn, didn't charge. Nothing. I watched him for 20 minutes. He never moved, never acknowledged my presence. Just stood there like a statue. I left him there, drove away. Looked back in the mirror. He was still standing, still motionless. I don't know what that was. Don't want to know. Day 23, the nightmares started. I've been avoiding sleep, cat naps only. short bursts of unconsciousness. But exhaustion catches up eventually. I dreamed about Rodriguez, about Jenkins, about shooting them, over and over. Their faces changing, becoming my face. I was shooting myself, watching myself turn, watching those eyes go white and dead and wrong. I woke up screaming, gun in hand, not remembering drawing it, safety off, finger on the trigger. I could have shot myself, could have put a round through my own head while half asleep and panicked. I secured the weapon, put it in the passenger seat, too far to reach while sleeping. Safer. But sleep didn't come again that night. Day 24, I drove past the hospital again. St. Michael's. Something was different. The barricades were moved, not destroyed, moved deliberately, like something had pushed them aside carefully, methodically. The front doors were wide open now. Had been closed before. Torn open. Now they were just open, inviting. I didn't go in. But I sat there, engine idling, staring at those doors. Something moved inside, deep in the lobby. Too dark to see clearly, but something large, bigger than a person. Moving slow, I left. Fast. The MREs are down to 3. I've been eating half rations, 1 meal a day, stretching it. The hunger is constant now. Sharp, painful. I've lost more weight. Can feel my ribs through my shirt. My uniform looks like a costume, like I'm playing cop. Maybe I am. Day 25, I found fresh bodies. Not infected, not dead from bites, shot, executed. 3 of them in a parking lot behind a strip mall. Hands bound, kneeling positions, single bullet to the back of each head. Recent, maybe hours old. Blood still wet. Someone else was alive. Someone organized. Someone killing. I looked around, checked rooftops, windows, didn't see anyone. But they'd seen me. Had to have. The Bearcat isn't subtle. I got out of there. Fast. Didn't want to meet whoever did that. Didn't want to know why. Survivors didn't mean allies. Didn't mean friends. The apocalypse doesn't bring out humanity's best. Brings out the truth. And the truth is ugly. Day 26. I tried the radio again. All frequencies. Emergency, police, fire, ham, marine, aviation, everything. Static on most. That automated message on AM. And something new on shortwave. Numbers. Just numbers. A woman's voice reading them. Slow, deliberate. 7, 3, 9, 2, 4, 8, 1. Over and over. Same sequence, same voice. No explanation. Code maybe. Coordinates. Orders. Or nothing. Random numbers to fill the silence. I wrote them down anyway. 7392481. Stared at them. Tried to find meaning. Phone number without area code. Date. Map reference. Combination lock. Nothing made sense. I turned off the radio. The Bearcat's check engine light came on. Not good. I'm not a mechanic. Barely know how to change oil. The vehicle manual in the glove box might as well be in Chinese. I checked the obvious things. Fluid levels, belts, hoses. Everything looked okay. The light stayed on. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's critical. No way to know without a diagnostic computer, without a mechanic, without civilization. I ignored it. What else could I do? Day 27, I found a library. Big building, stone facade, classic architecture. The doors were intact, locked even. I broke in, used the Bearcat, drove it right through the front entrance. Glass and wood everywhere. The alarm went off, loud, piercing, battery backup still working somehow. The sound brought them, dozens, from every direction, pouring into the street, converging on the library. I'd made a mistake, huge mistake. I reversed the Bearcat, hard, tires squealing, knocked over shelving, crashed through what was left of the entrance, back onto the street. They were everywhere, surrounding the vehicle, pounding, clawing, More than I'd ever seen in one place. Hundreds, maybe. I drove, plowed through them. The Bearcat's weight and armor made it possible. Bodies breaking against the grill, bones snapping. Still they came. Relentless. I made it 3 blocks before they stopped chasing. Turned down a side street. Another. Put distance between us. The Bearcat's front end was damaged, dented, smeared with blood and worse. The right headlight was out. Windshield had new cracks spreading across it. But it still ran. Still moved. Good enough. Stupid risk. The library wasn't worth it. I don't even know what I was looking for. Books, information, something to read maybe? Distraction from the endless driving and waiting and surviving. All I got was damage and near death. I'm getting careless, desperate. That's how you die, how you make the fatal mistake. I needed to be smarter, more careful, more patient. But patience requires hope, requires believing there's a point to being careful, to surviving. I'm not sure I believe that anymore. Day 28, I parked on a hill overlooking the city. Good vantage point. Could see for miles. Smoke rising from fires that had been burning for weeks. Buildings collapsed. Streets empty. It looked dead. Felt dead. I used to love this city. Grew up here, knew every neighborhood, every corner. Met my ex-wife at a bar on 5th. Had my first apartment on Washington. Made detective while working the East Precinct. Now it was a graveyard. Tomb. Memorial to what was. I sat on the Bearcat's hood, gun in hand. Watched the sun set. The sky turned orange, red, purple. Beautiful. I was wrong that it could be beautiful while everything else was horror. I thought about that moment on the bridge. About driving off. About ending it. The thought was easier now. More comfortable. Like an old friend offering an out. But I couldn't. Not yet. Something kept me going. Not hope, not purpose, just inertia. The simple act of continuing because stopping was harder. I went back inside, ate the last MRE, chicken something. Didn't taste it, just chewed and swallowed. Fuel, nothing more. 2 bottles of water left, maybe 3 days. Then I'd have to risk another supply run, another store, another chance to die. The numbers came back on shortwave. Same voice, same sequence. 7392481. I listened. Let it wash over me. Background noise. Company almost. When it stopped, I felt more alone. Turned the dial. Found static. Left it there. Day 29. I found the source of the hospital movement. I shouldn't have gone back. Should have stayed away. But curiosity, stupidity, death wish, take your pick. I parked across the street. Watched the entrance. Nothing for hours. Then movement. Deep inside. Coming closer. It emerged into the light. I couldn't process it. Didn't want to believe what I was seeing. It was multiple infected, fused together, grown together, like their bodies had merged, conjoined. A mass of limbs and heads and torsos moving as one. Maybe 8 people, maybe 10. Hard to count. They moved in synchronization, coordinated, impossible. The things shambled out of the hospital, stood in the parking lot, dozens of eyes scanning, searching. It turned toward me, all those heads moving at once, all those eyes finding the Bearcat. It started moving, fast, faster than it should be able to. That mass of bodies flowing like liquid, like one organism instead of many. I started the engine, left, didn't look back, didn't want to see if it was following. Whatever that was, whatever the infection was doing. It wasn't just making them aggressive, wasn't just killing and reanimating. It was changing them, evolving them, combining them into something new. That's when I knew, really knew. There was no coming back from this. No cure, no vaccine, no rescue. The world had ended. This was what came after. I drove until the fuel light came on. Found another gas station. This one was clear. No fortifications, no signs, just empty. I filled the tank. Didn't go inside, didn't loot, just left. Day 30, I drove into the industrial sector. Warehouses, factories, rail yards, everything abandoned, for rust and decay. Some of these places had been dying before the apocalypse. Now they were just honest about it. I found a semi-truck, 18-wheeler, cab doors open, keys in the ignition. The trailer was locked, heavy padlock. I shot it off. 3 rounds. Waste of ammunition, but I needed to know what was inside. The doors swung open. Supplies, pallets of food, canned goods, water, medical supplies, non-perishable everything. A treasure trove. It should have been relief. Joy. Instead, I felt nothing. Just pragmatic assessment. I could load some into the Bearcat. Not much. Space was limited, but enough to extend my timeline. Push back the inevitable. I took what I could, water mostly, some canned food, first aid supplies, left the rest, locked the trailer again. Someone else might find it, might need it. Probably not. Probably just rot there until the trailer collapsed. I loaded everything into the back, reorganized my space, made room. The Bearcat felt more cramped, more like a coffin. I was pushing 40 days soon, longer than I thought I'd last. Each day felt like a victory and a punishment. Still alive, still suffering, which was worse. The radio numbers changed. New sequence, 8157439. Different voice, male. Same slow cadence. Same lack of explanation. I didn't write them down. Didn't care anymore. Just noise. Meaningless. Night 30. I parked in a factory complex. Old metalworks plant. Shut down years ago. Big empty building, rusted equipment. I drove the Bearcat inside through a loading door. Hid it behind a massive furnace. Complete darkness. Total silence. Just me and my breathing and the tick of the engine cooling. Something about the space felt safe. Womb-like. I could hide here. Stay. Never leave. Just wait for the supplies to run out. For dehydration or starvation or madness to take me. Would anyone find my body? Would anyone care? Would it matter? I slept. Really slept. First time in weeks. Deep and dreamless. Woke up 12 hours later with sunlight streaming through broken windows high above. The Bearcat was covered in dust. I was stiff, sore, but rested. Actually rested. I should have felt better. Should have felt renewed. Instead, I felt hollow. Empty. Rest didn't fix what was broken. What had been breaking since day one. I started the engine, drove out of the factory, back into the dead city, back to the routine. Drive, watch, avoid, survive. Day 32, I saw people. Actual people. Not infected, not dead, alive. There were 4 of them. On a rooftop, 3 blocks away. I saw them through binoculars. They saw me. We stared at each other across the distance. I used the PA, called out, identified myself, offered help, offered to come get them. They didn't respond, just watched. One of them raised a rifle, pointed it at me, not threatening, just ready. Message received. Stay away. I left, didn't push it. They'd made their choice, their sanctuary. I wasn't welcome. Couldn't blame them. Trust was dead, had died with society. But knowing others were alive, that changed something, made me feel less alone, or more alone. Hard to tell. Day 33. I found my ex-wife's house. Don't know why I went there. We'd been divorced 5 years, hadn't spoken in 3. She'd remarried. Guy named Bill, accountant, nice enough. Their house was in the suburbs, 2-story. I'd white picket fence, literal white picket fence. Always thought that was funny. Cliché. The front door was open. I went inside. Gun drawn. Cautious. The place was ransacked. Not by looters. By evacuation. Drawers pulled out. Closets emptied. They'd packed in a hurry. Left furniture, photos, everything not essential. I found a picture on the mantel. Wedding photo. Her and Bill. She looked happy. Really happy. Happier than I'd ever seen her when we were married. Good for her, I meant it. Whatever happened next, whatever came after, at least she'd had that. That moment of happiness. That smile. I left the photo where it was. Walked out. Got back in the Bearcat. Drove away. Didn't cry. Couldn't. That part of me was gone. Dried up. Dead inside before the actual dead started walking. Day 34, the check engine light went off. And then came back on. Then off again. Flickering. The engine was making new sounds. Knocking. Grinding occasionally. Something was wrong. Something I couldn't fix. The Bearcat was dying. Slow. Mechanical failure. Entropy. Inevitable. I had maybe a week. Maybe less. Before it stopped running. Before I was stranded. Before my mobile fortress became a stationary coffin. Options were limited. Find another vehicle. Find a safe place to hole up. Or just keep driving until it died and deal with it then. I chose the third option. Always did. Put off the hard decisions. Deal with consequences when they came. Story of my life. Day 35, I found the third weird thing. There was a stoplight still working. Solar-powered maybe. Battery backup. Cycling through red, yellow, green. Red, yellow, green. No cars obeying it. No traffic. Just the light. A changing. Following its programming. I sat at the intersection. Watched it cycle. When it turned green, I went. When it turned red, I stopped. Following the rules. Maintaining order in a world without order. 3 cycles. Then I drove through a red. Didn't stop. Didn't care. The rules were dead. Following them was insanity. But for those 3 cycles, I'd felt normal. Civilized. Human. Then I drove through the red, and that feeling died. Day 36, I ran into the executed bodies again. Different location. Same MO. 5 people this time. Same position. Same execution style. Single bullet. Back of the head. Fresh. Hours old. Blood pooling. I got out. Examined them. Checked for bites. Wounds. Signs of infection. Nothing. They were clean. Human. Healthy. Someone was killing survivors. I heard an engine. Distant. Getting closer. I ran back to the Bearcat. Locked myself inside. Watched. A pickup truck appeared. Modified. Armor plating. Gun mounted on the roof. 3 people inside. They pulled up to the bodies. Checked them. One of them took photos. Documentation. Then they saw me. All 3 turned. The gun swiveled. Pointed at the Bearcat. We stared at each other. Nobody moved. Standoff. The driver got on a PA. Leave. Now. Don't come back. This is our territory. I left. Drove slow. Non-threatening. Didn't want to provoke them. They had firepower, numbers, organization. I was alone, outnumbered, outgunned. They didn't follow. Let me go. Warning shot. Next time might be different. The city was divided. Territories, factions, survivors killing survivors, fighting over scraps, over space, over nothing. Everything I'd feared about human nature. Confirmed. To day 37. I drove to the outskirts, away from downtown, away from suburbs, to the rural edge where the city bled into farmland. The infected were fewer here, scattered. Countryside didn't support the same density. Fewer people meant fewer infected. Simple math. I found a farmhouse, intact, isolated, half-mile from the nearest neighbor. I parked in the driveway, watched, waited. Nobody came out. No movement. I went inside, cleared each room. Empty, clean, well-stocked. Pantry full of canned goods, basement with preserves, generator in the garage with fuel. I could stay here, abandon the Bearcat, live in the farmhouse, grow food maybe, survive long-term. But I couldn't. Something about staying in one place felt like giving up, like admitting defeat. The Bearcat was movement, progress, purpose, even if the purpose was circular, pointless. I loaded supplies into the Bearcat, filled every available space, took everything I could carry. Then I left the farmhouse intact, door closed, preserved. Maybe someone else would find it. Maybe they'd stay. Maybe they'd make it work. Not me, though. I was married to the Bearcat, to the road, to the endless driving. Day 38, the engine seized, just stopped. Middle of an intersection, temperature gauge spiked, steam pouring from under the hood, metal grinding, then silence. Dead. The Bearcat was dead. I tried restarting it. Nothing, just clicking. The starter working, but the engine gone. Locked up. Finished. I sat there, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. My fortress was now a trap, a coffin, everything I'd feared. I gathered supplies, anything I could carry. Water, food, ammunition, first aid kit, new weapons, loaded into a bag, a second bag. Too much to carry far, but I'd manage. I opened the door, stepped out into the street for the second time in 2 weeks. The air hit me again, hot, humid, rot, death. I almost got back in the Bearcat, almost locked the door and waited to die inside. But I couldn't. Survival instinct, stubborn refusal to quit, pride, stupidity. I started walking, left the Bearcat in the intersection. Doors locked, like it mattered, like someone would steal it, like it wasn't just junk now. Debris, part of the landscape of the dead world. I walked 3 blocks. The bags were heavy, too heavy. I started dropping things, non-essential items, spare ammunition, extra food, lightening the load. I found a sporting goods store, front window smashed, already looted. But I went in, looking for a backpack, like something better than the duffel bags. Found one, hiking pack, internal frame, designed for long distance. I transferred everything. Better weight distribution, more comfortable. I kept moving. Day 39 on foot felt different. Slower, more vulnerable, but also more aware. In the Bearcat, everything was filtered through armor plating and bulletproof glass. Now it was direct, immediate, real. I could smell things. Specific smells. Rot from specific bodies. Smoke from specific fires. Gasoline, mold, flowers somehow. Blooming despite everything. I could hear things. Wind, leaves, birds. Wait, birds? I looked up. Saw them. Crows, dozens of them, circling, landing on power lines, on rooftops. They'd come back, or they'd never left. Just hidden, waiting. They watched me. I watched them. We were both scavengers now, both survivors, both picking through the corpse of civilization. I kept walking, found a bicycle, 10 speed, decent condition. I took it. Faster than walking, quieter than vehicles, easier to hide, easier to abandon if needed. I pedaled through the city, my home. Every street familiar, every building known. But foreign now, alien, hostile. I passed the police station, stopped, looked at it. The front was burned out, blackened. The flag still hung from the pole, tattered, faded, still there. I thought about going inside, checking for survivors, for supplies, for something. Didn't. Just kept pedaling. Some ghosts you let lie. Day 40, I found a hospital that wasn't St. Michael's. Smaller, suburban facility. The parking lot was empty, the building intact. Doors closed. I went inside. Service weapon drawn. Flashlight in the other hand. Battery powered. Limited charge. I used it sparingly. The lobby was pristine, clean, like everyone had just left. Chairs arranged, magazines on tables, a vase with dead flowers on the reception desk. I moved deeper. Emergency department, treatment rooms, everything abandoned but ordered. Not ransacked, not destroyed, just empty. I found the pharmacy, locked, steel door, keypad entry. I tried shooting the lock, didn't work. Tried kicking the door, didn't work. Tried finding another way in, didn't work. The drugs were right there, behind that door. Antibiotics, painkillers, medicine, everything I might need. Unreachable. I left, frustrated, angry, at myself, at the door, at the situation, at everything. Found the cafeteria, some food still in the fridges, spoiled, rotted, unusable. But there were dry goods, crackers, chips, granola bars. I took them. I was leaving when I heard it. Sound from upstairs. Movement. Footsteps. I froze. Listened. Someone was walking. Slow. Steady. Not the shuffle of infected. Deliberate. Human. I called out, "Hello? Anyone there? I'm a cop. I can help." The footsteps stopped. Silence. Long silence. Then a voice. Female. Older. "Go away. We don't need help." We. Multiple people. "I'm not here to hurt anyone. Just looking for supplies. I can leave." Then leave. I did. Didn't push it. They had their space, their sanctuary. I wasn't welcome, wasn't wanted. Story of the apocalypse. I got back on the bicycle, pedaled away, heard a window open above me, looked up, saw a face. Woman. Maybe 60. She watched me leave. Hand on a rifle, ready but not aggressive. I waved. She didn't wave back. Just watched until I was out of sight. Day 41, I found a mall. Big one. Regional center. 4 department stores. Food court. Movie theater. Everything under one roof. The parking lot was a disaster. Cars everywhere. Crashed. Burned. Abandoned. Bodies scattered between them. Hundreds. Maybe thousands. This had been an evacuation point. A shelter. A death trap. The mall entrance was barricaded from inside. Furniture, shopping carts, mannequins, random debris. Someone had fortified it. Someone had tried to hold this place. Failed, obviously. I found a side entrance, service door, propped open with a corpse. I moved the body, went inside. Dark. Emergency lights barely working, flickering, dying. The mall stretched ahead. Stores on both sides. All looted, all destroyed. Glass everywhere, products scattered, and money from registers blowing in the breeze from broken skylights. I walked the main corridor, weapon ready, watching, listening. The place felt wrong. Dangerous. Haunted, maybe. I found the food court. Tables overturned, chairs broken. A makeshift triage area had been set up. Medical supplies, bandages, blood everywhere. They'd tried to treat people here, tried to save them. Didn't work. The infected don't respect medical zones. I found bodies, lots of them, piled in stores, in bathrooms, in offices. Some shot, some bitten, some both. The smell was overwhelming. I wrapped my shirt around my face, kept moving. The movie theater was in the back, doors chained shut from the outside. I could hear movement inside. Moaning, scraping. Someone had trapped infected in there. Locked them away. Contained them. Smart, maybe. Cruel, definitely. Letting them starve. Letting them rot. Letting them suffer whatever passed for suffering in their state. I left them there. Moved on. Found the department store. Big one. 3 floors. I took the escalator. Dead, obviously. Had to climb it like stairs. 2nd floor, clothing, shoes, accessories. I found clean clothes. First time in 40 days. I changed. Left my uniform in a pile. Took jeans, t-shirt, jacket, boots. Felt like shedding skin, shedding identity. I wasn't a cop anymore. Wasn't a detective, just a survivor. Just Trevor, just a guy trying not to die. Third floor, home goods, furniture. I found the camping section, sleeping bags, tents, portable stoves, water filters, everything I needed. I loaded a shopping cart, filled it. Better supplies than I'd had since the Bearcat died. I was leaving when I saw it. Scratched into a wall, fresh, recent. Letters carved deep. The cure is in the water treatment plant, Northwest facility. They're lying to us. Below it, a response. Different handwriting, spray paint. There is no cure. There is no them. There is nothing. Two people, two messages, two different levels of delusion or hope or insanity. I didn't know which was worse, believing in a cure that didn't exist, or accepting that nothing could save us. I took a photo of the wall with a camera I'd found. Polaroid, instant film, the picture developed. I put it in my pocket. Evidence, documentation, proof that someone else was still thinking, still questioning, still trying to make sense of it. I left the mall, pushing the shopping cart. Absurd image. Guy pushing a cart full of camping gear through a dead city. Peak apocalypse. Found a car. Old sedan. Keys in the ignition. People had abandoned it mid-evacuation. I loaded my supplies, tried to start it. Battery dead. Found another car. Same problem. Another. Same. The whole parking lot was useless. Dead batteries, empty tanks. Mechanical failures. I kept the shopping cart. Pushed it down the street, easier than carrying everything. The wheels squeaked, loud, attracting attention. But I was tired. Too tired to care. Day 42, I found a house. Nice one. 2-story colonial. The door was unlocked. I went inside. Cleared each room. Empty, clean, untouched. Like the occupants had just left for vacation. Would be back any minute. I made it my base, temporary. Just for a while. I needed to rest, to regroup, to figure out next steps. I set up in the master bedroom. 2nd floor, good visibility. 1 exit. Barricaded the door. Set up early warning systems. Trip wires made from string and cans. Not sophisticated, but functional. I ate, really ate, not rations, not scraps. Actual food from cans I'd taken from the mall, soup, vegetables, fruit and syrup. I heated them on a camping stove. Ate slowly. Savored it. First real meal in weeks. I almost cried. The simple pleasure of warm food, of full stomach, of not being in motion, not running, not hiding in a vehicle, just existing in a space. I slept. Real sleep. In a bed. With a pillow. Under blankets. 8 hours straight. No nightmares. No waking in panic. Just sleep. Woke up feeling human. Almost forgot where I was, what had happened. Had a brief moment of normalcy. Confusion. Where's my alarm? What time is it? Need to get ready for work. Then reality crashed back. The silence. The emptiness. The knowledge that there was no work, no alarm, no normal. I stayed in the house for 3 days, resting, recovering, processing. The trip wires never triggered. Nobody came. Nothing disturbed me. 3 days of peace in a world of horror. Day 45, I left the house. Couldn't stay. Felt like a trap, like I was giving up. Had to keep moving, had to keep searching for what I didn't know. Purpose, maybe, meaning, other survivors, something. I took the bicycle, left the cart. Too conspicuous, too loud. Loaded a backpack with essentials, light, mobile, ready. I pedaled north, away from the city center, toward the industrial parks, toward the water treatment plant, toward the message on the wall, knowing it was probably nothing, probably delusion, but having nothing else to pursue. The plant was 10 miles out. Took most of the day. Offs pedaling, resting, avoiding infected. They were thicker on this side of town. Industrial areas had lots of workers, lots of people, lots of infected. I hid multiple times. Let groups pass, waited, patient, careful, learning to move through their territory without being seen, without being heard. I reached the plant at sunset. Big facility, fences, gates, security, all breached, all useless now. The main building was intact. I approached slow, watching windows, doors, looking for movement, signs of life, signs of danger. Found the entrance, unlocked. I went inside. The facility was running, automated systems still working, lights on, machines humming, water flowing through pipes, the infrastructure surviving even as civilization died. I found the control room. Computer screens active, monitoring water quality, treatment processes, and everything normal, everything functional, no cure, no conspiracy, no secret. Just a water treatment plant doing its job, cleaning water for a city that didn't exist anymore. I laughed, bitter, hollow. Someone had believed, had carved that message, had hoped there was something here. Some answer, some salvation. There wasn't. Just machines following programming, just automation outlasting humanity. I left, pedaled back to the city, back to the empty streets, back to nowhere. Day 47, I found them. The people from the rooftop, not intentionally, just chance. Wrong place, wrong time. Right timing, maybe. I was passing a warehouse, heard voices inside. Actual conversation, not moaning, not screaming. Talking, laughing even. I stopped, got off the bicycle, approached the building. Side door was open. I looked inside. 4 people, the same ones from the roof. 3 men, 1 woman. They had a fire going in a barrel. Sitting around it, eating, talking. Normal? Almost normal. They saw me. All 4 reached for weapons. Fast. Trained, maybe. I raised my hands. I'm not a threat. Just passing through. The woman spoke. You're the cop from before, the Bearcat. I nodded. Not a cop anymore, just Trevor. What happened to your vehicle? Died. Engine seized. I'm on foot now. They looked at each other. Some silent communication. Decision-making. The oldest man, maybe 50, gray beard, spoke. You can come in, but we search you, check for bites. You understand? I understood. I came inside. Let them search me. Check my arms and neck, anywhere I could be bitten. They were thorough, professional, military maybe, or just experienced. They found nothing. Let me sit. Offered food. I declined. Didn't want to take their supplies. They insisted, shared what they had. Kindness, humanity, unexpected. We talked. They'd been together since the beginning. Co-workers, office building downtown. Survived the initial outbreak, made it to the roof. Stayed there until the food ran out, then moved. Found the warehouse, fortified it, made it home. I told them my story. The Bearcat, the driving, the isolation, the loneliness. They listened. Didn't judge, didn't question, just listened. The woman, her name was Patricia. She asked, why didn't you stay? Find a place, settle, make a life. I didn't have an answer, or I had too many. Fear, stubborn refusal to accept reality, inability to let go of the old world, the old purpose. The old Trevor, I said. Couldn't. Had to keep moving. Felt wrong to stop. She nodded. I get that. We all felt that way. Eventually you realize there's nowhere to move to, nowhere to go. Might as well be somewhere safe. Safe. Relative term. This warehouse wasn't safe. Nothing was. But it was safer than the streets. Safer than being alone. They invited me to stay, join them, be part of their group. 5 was better than 4. More hands, more eyes, better survival odds. I wanted to say yes, wanted the company, the safety, the human connection. But something stopped me. Pride, maybe? Fear of attachment, fear of loss. Knowing that caring about people meant risk, meant potential for more pain. I said I'd think about it. They accepted that. Gave me space in the warehouse, a corner, a blanket, a spot by the fire. I stayed 2 days, helped with tasks, scavenging, fortifying, keeping watch. It felt good, purposeful, in being part of something. But on the 3rd day, I left. Took my bicycle, my supplies, said goodbye. They didn't try to stop me. Understood maybe, or thought I was crazy. Both probably true. Patricia gave me a radio, walkie-talkie. Said if I changed my mind, if I needed help, call on Channel 7. They'd be listening. I took it. Thanked them, left. Pedaled away, alone again, by choice, by fear, by whatever brokenness drove me. Day 50, I found the coastline, or what passed for coastline. The city was inland, but there was a lake. Big one, reservoir, water supply for the metro area. The shore was quiet, peaceful, waves lapping against rocks, birds overhead, almost beautiful, almost peaceful. I sat on a dock, dangled my feet over the water, looked out at the horizon, tried to remember what it felt like before the infection, before the end, before I became this thing, this survivor, this ghost. Couldn't remember. That person was gone, dead, replaced by whatever I was now. I thought about swimming, just walking into the water, letting it take me. Easier than starving, easier than infection, easier than whatever came next. But I didn't. Couldn't. Same survival instinct, same stubborn refusal, same inability to quit. I pedaled away from the lake, back to the city, back to the search, for what I still didn't know. Day 53, I found a functioning radio tower, broadcasting tower, big one. Red light still blinking on top. Warning aircraft. Aircraft that didn't exist anymore. The building at the base was locked. I broke in, found the equipment room. Transmitters, receivers, controls I didn't understand. But there was a microphone. A simple broadcast setup. I could transmit. Could send a message. To anyone listening. To everyone. To no one. I sat at the console. Turned on the equipment. Watched lights flicker to life. Systems booting up. I didn't know if it was working, if anyone would hear, if it mattered. I pressed the transmit button, spoke into the microphone. This is Trevor Paulson, former detective, Metro Police. I'm alive. I'm in the city. If anyone's out there, if anyone's listening, you're not alone. I'm here. We're here. Some of us made it. Some of us are still trying. Don't give up. Don't stop fighting. There's still. I couldn't finish. Didn't know how to finish. There's still what? Hope, life, purpose. I didn't believe any of that. I released the button, sat in silence, waiting, hoping for a response, for another voice, for confirmation that the message went out, that someone heard. Nothing, just static. I tried again. Different message, simpler. If you're alone, if you're scared, if you're thinking about giving up, don't, not yet. Find something to hold on to, something to keep you going. It doesn't have to be big, just something, a memory, a person, a hope. Just don't give up. Please. I was crying, hadn't realized. Tears running down my face, first time in weeks, maybe months. The dam breaking, all the fear, the loss, the loneliness, pouring out. I turned off the equipment, left the building, got back on the bicycle, pedaled away, wiping my face, pulling it together, being strong, being stoic, being whatever I needed to be to survive another day. Day 56, I went back to the warehouse. To Patricia and her group, used the radio, called on Channel 7. They answered, told me to come, gave me directions. I pedaled there, arrived at sunset. They welcomed me. No questions, no judgment, just acceptance. I'd left. Now I was back. That was enough. I stayed, made it my home, my base, my family in whatever form family existed now. We survived together, scavenged together, fought together, lost people, gained people. The group changed, evolved, but it endured. The infection didn't go away. The world didn't heal. Civilization didn't rebuild. We just existed. In the spaces between the horror, in the moments of quiet, in the small victories of another day survived. I stopped counting days, stopped marking time. Time didn't matter. Only survival mattered. Only the people around me mattered. Only the next meal, the next sunset, the next moment of being alive. I thought about the Bearcat sometimes. My fortress, my prison, the thing that kept me alive and kept me isolated. Wondered if it was still there, in that intersection, rusting, decaying, becoming part of the landscape. Probably. Nothing lasted. Everything decayed, everything ended, except us, the survivors. We persisted, stubborn, foolish, human. And that was enough, had to be enough, because there was nothing else. The radio still crackled with static. The automated messages still played. The numbers still broadcast. The world still turned. We just turned with it, adapting, surviving, enduring. That's what we did. That's who we were. That's all we could be. Survivors in a dead world, making life from death, making meaning from chaos, making something from nothing. It wasn't much, but it was ours, and we held on to it, tight, because letting go meant giving up, meant accepting the end. We weren't ready for that, not yet, maybe not ever. So we kept going, day by day, moment by moment, breath by breath, living in the apocalypse, making it work, making it ours. And sometimes, in the quiet moments, when the fire burned low and the others slept and I sat watch, I'd think about everything that was lost, everyone who died, everything that could have been, and I'd grieve, quietly, privately, letting the weight of it settle, letting the pain wash through. Then I'd push it aside, lock it away, focus on the present, on the now, on the living, because that's all there was, the now, the living, the continuing, and I'd be damned if I'd waste it on ghosts. The city stretched around us, dead, empty, hostile. But it was ours, our territory, our home, our world now. We'd make do, we'd survive, we'd endure, because that's what humans did. Even at the end, we survived. Thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with another story.